All right.
Okay,
All right.
let's
Well,
go.
welcome. Here we are. Uh, Listen, this could be, I've got two subjects for us today.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And one of them is something that we pretty much, actually, I think both of them are pretty much what we stay away from. But we're gonna dive in and just why not let it rip? I mean, at some point, I guess even you and I have to be a bit more controversial than we are. Uh,
Which is never.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So, first and foremost, and I don't know if we're going to be long on this at all. We might be only a few minutes on this, and then we'll move on to the next subject. But let's talk about, uh, to me, not about the Ivy Ridge situation, but how the
Okay.
community's reacting to it, because
Okay.
I think that's where the problem lies.
Okay.
You know,
Tell me what you think
uh,
the problem is.
well, I think at this point, the problem is that there's people that don't know anything about this. They saw this video that this girl made. She got it on Netflix. And people see the internet and they go, well, it's on the internet. It must be true or whatever. But it's not a whole truth. Okay. But here's the other part of this. Even that, you know what? Even that doesn't matter because there's legal ways to get the truth and it's going to happen in some way or another. And that's fine. But the personal attacks and the made up stuff that goes along with it and the internet, the cyberbullying that's going on and everything is not right, and it's not the way it should be. And those are the things that bother me the most.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Okay. So maybe this won't be as bad as I thought it was because that I agree with. I actually just got done talking to a friend who had made a post about the show.
Mm-hmm.
And once people caught wind of what she was talking about, people who are in the know about it, who know people who worked there and whatnot, they started giving her names, addresses, phone numbers, call this one and tell them what they did was wrong and blah, 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 blah. She pulled the post right down because she said, you know what? I don't want to get involved with all that.
See, that's cyberbullying, and I don't
Yeah,
think that's the solution. Okay.
right.
And
No, I agree. That I agree with. But, this is a very um, touchy situation. This is a very
absolutely.
touchy thing that happened. So people are very, very passionate about it. I've had people talk to me about it. And, you know, I won't say my opinion one way or the other because maybe that doesn't even matter, but it doesn't matter your opinion. And it doesn't matter, you can't do that. You,
Well,
you can't do that.
well,
And
now here's
well, and
and
this goes back to junior high kids and high school kids cyberbullying each other online, right? I
right.
mean, cyberbullying at all is wrong. But today it is such the norm in our world. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you something. I don't even know if you know this. About a month ago, I had gastric bypass surgery.
Did you?
I got the I got the sleeve done,
Wow.
and
Maybe we
I
have something else
was
to talk about today.
see, there you go. I was in my head before it happened. I was going to make one of those TikTok things where, this is what I look like now and get ready because I'm going to lose all this weight and blah, 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 blah. So I started looking at the TikToks of people who had done that. There are horrible, horrible people out there who will say things like, it's about damn time because you've been fat forever. Or if you really think losing weight is going to make, help your personality, blah, 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 blah. Like that's just the way people are these days.
Right.
So
And
I agree with you in the sense that the cyberbullying is disgusting and don't hand out anybody's name. Don't hand out anybody's number. It's really none of your business.
here's the thing, okay, and that's why I thought it was important. We did a breakfast brew, and we actually brought this up. Uh, we through all the years that we've been in broadcasting, okay, and not in broadcasting in some ways, the one thing that we always held to is integrity with the information,
Yep.
right? So if you're getting on to and I'll give you a perfect example because I've been dealing with it all weekend, a
Mhm.
church's website, and you write on the church's website, you're a church of pedophiles because your minister worked at Ivy Ridge as a PR person.
Right.
Give me a break, please. That
Well,
is
no.
so outrageously bad and wrong that it made me sick. Okay.
Yes, that I agree with.
So that part of it, I figured if we do it here on the Breakfast Brew, you want to bully us, it don't work because we don't care what you think. You're
I,
not going to bully us, and that's why I thought it was important that we got on to say, look,
yeah,
you can disagree with us,
yeah,
but just because you write mean words on our page, well, go right ahead and invite your friends to come along and listen too, and they can they can join in. I don't care, and this platform I don't care. At
yeah,
church I got a problem with it because you got a congregation of people, and there's just a lot more to it there. You're drawing conclusions. And here's the other thing that I found: they only targeted like the people they could find immediately in Target.
sure,
There were hundreds of people that worked there.
yeah,
There was a long list. I mean, you look at they put the list of names up, but you know, if you got nothing better to do than sit on the internet and bully people on the internet because you're searching their names, maybe you should think about what you're really doing. Because if you want to advocate for somebody, if you want to advocate for what happened to these kids and for them, then this is not the way to do it. Splitting a community up and being mean to other people on the internet is not going to help these kids any. It's not going to help their cause.
no,
And that's where you say, look at that's okay. So you know how to sit behind a keyboard and type words. Good for you, but how do you really take action? How do you
right,
really step up
right,
and help what you think is a wrongdoing?
right,
Because that ain't it,
right,
and you've got legal stuff, and to the point where even the law enforcement at St. Lawrence County had to make a statement today and said, look, if we're investigating this, but if you're not involved, if you didn't go to Ivy Ridge, if you didn't work at Ivy Ridge, if you didn't deal with Ivy Ridge, and now you're just getting on the cause, please don't call us and bombard us with emails of information of stuff because you don't know the facts. And this is what people do. They think if they type it, it's true.
hmm
And
yeah.
it's not. You
Well,
know,
and like I said, it's funny that you would say sit behind your keyboard and type these words and whatnot, because honestly, that's like I said, going back to the young kids that do it,
Mhm.
that's what they do. That's how you bring these people down, is you say whatever you want to whomever you want. There's no way to trace it back to you. If you're good enough like that, there's no way to trace it back to you. And if you're dumb enough to go on and say, hey, this is Angie D and I'm saying blah 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 blah, then you're probably just a little bit worse. So yeah, that I agree with. I'm glad you're saying this and not other things, because I thought maybe this was going to be a bad situation. But yeah, you're right.
You thought you
You're
were going
right.
to absolutely disagree with me. You thought I was going to say these
Yes,
kids are crazy.
yes,
And okay, no, but I will say this: there's got to be a but in there. Okay, we have both raised our teenagers and had extreme moments with our teenagers.
absolutely.
Right now, this I watched just the first episode is all I
Hmm.
watched. So the girl that did the episode,
Hmm.
she her mother passed away when she was young.
Hmm.
So she was traumatized
Yeah.
when she was young, not by her father's doing, not by anybody else's doing, but God called her mother home
Yep.
and she was left there. If you don't, I know this through, my own children and all the other stuff, that separation will cause PTSD very easily.
Yep.
And it continues for years. So now you have this angry child who
Hmm.
hurts so bad. And you were an adult when you lost your mother. My mother's only been gone a year and a half. But you were devastated by that and it's affected you the whole rest of your life. And
Hmm.
I do believe that there is some PTSD that's involved with that for you.
Absolutely.
Uh, uh, so imagine a young kid. Imagine being, 6, 7 years old, whatever she was. So that's traumatic. Now dad says, hey, I got a new wife. It doesn't matter if that lady's nice to you, mean to you, indifferent to you, or anything else. You hate her.
Yep.
It's not personal.
Nope.
Okay. And that's the problem. It's not personal. It's a psychological issue.
Right.
And of course we know, especially in the North Country, that mental health is at a bare minimum in this area for our kids growing up and adults even,
Yep.
right? So what it is it's an entirely systematic issue. And then these guys that started the school and guys that have people that have these schools around the country still said, hey, let's take the rich troubled teens and make a lot of
Yeah.
money,
Right.
right? And we'll move into these remote communities because if you're in the big cities, you can't get away with it in the big cities.
Right. Right. Right.
So we're gonna and now look at the property's cheap. It's an old college. We got a great deal. Boom, here we go. We're gonna
Yep.
set up in Ogdensburg, New York. And you know what? All these people need jobs, so they're gonna come and work for us. Now, here's where I start drawing the line on the workers because you can't accuse everybody of knowing and being a. I'm sorry, I've worked places that things happen that I don't know happened and were not good. So, should I be in trouble? I have personal situations where family members were in care facilities and things happened, and I brought it to the attention of the people that I know, and they never took action on it. They let it go.
Yep.
Right. But
Yep.
some of those people, which really bothered me, are some of the people being very vocal about this Ivy Ridge thing. Watch what you're doing and make sure you check your own closet before you start opening everybody else's.
Yeah.
But
I'll give you that.
but so we create this school, everybody goes to work there. Some of the people that worked in that school did not do good things. It's not a good setup. Look, the STARS program was going back then. Ivy Ridge was out. You know, we had all these different, well, this is how we're going to fix our kids. We've learned over the years you can't fix your kids by beating them, okay? Listen, I know, oh, you know, spare the rod, spoil the child. We've heard all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not really what the deal is. You
No.
know, at least I don't believe so. I don't, I mean, you haven't really done that much. You know, now spare the rod, spoil the husband. That's a whole nother thing. But you know,
Only when he asked for it.
yeah, right. So anyway, so I think that there's a deeper issue here, but by pulling out the entire staff, I think that's a mistake. I don't think that's a good thing because I don't think everybody, you know,
right, was involved. And I do agree with that to an extent. I don't think, and I don't know. Look, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going by what I've learned from the Netflix series, which I did watch the whole thing. I watched it all twice. You know, there's lots of Facebook pages now, there's podcasts, there's lots of information about it. But from what I gathered, you know, if you were there a lot, if you worked every day, which from the sounds of it, a lot of them did, it was kind of hard to not notice what was going on.
well, and I think that you have to look at the situation. So we know what it's like. Most people, if you have had teenagers, okay, you know what it's like to deal with a troubled teen to some extent. Hopefully not to an extreme level, although in my house there were times that it was an extreme level, right?
Okay.
And that can be extremely frustrating and easy to, you know, if you're not paying attention, you can lose sight of your senses and do some very extreme things that are not good. It can happen. Okay.
Yep.
Now let's take people that weren't properly trained, put them in a job where you're in a building with not one unruly teenager, but a whole building of them. Like,
okay, so wait, let's back up for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I take not a lot, but just a little bit of offense with unruly teenager. Because if you go back to this girl, this woman that did this whole thing, remember, she worked on it for 10 years. It wasn't just like, hey, let's go up to Ogdensburg, walk around for a while and we're done.
Okay.
This was a 10-year project. If you go back, and it's like you said, she lost her mom, obviously upset over that. Dad brings in a new wife, obviously over, you know, upset about that. And from experience, that never goes away. It doesn't matter how old you are. My dad started dating after my mother passed away, 3 years later, still don't like that woman. And I was 30 some odd years old. Still don't like that woman. You know why? She's not my mother. But this girl had lost her mom, got a new mom. The mom and her did not get along. The new mom and her did not get along.
And I
And
wouldn't expect her to. It's you
right.
can't just expect her to.
So she acted out. Do we know the extent of what she did? Maybe she did something worse.
So
But
do you
from what I can tell,
so do you want me to say angry teenagers?
um,
Easily emotionally revved up teenagers? I mean, you can put it any
you
way you
know,
want. Here's the point. Here's the point. Let me finish the point though. So here's the point. Instead of one, you have several. And in that group of several, you're not just going to have one kid. When you have 400 or 500, at one time enrollment was 400 or 500 kids at Ivy Ridge at
right,
a time.
right,
Okay. You're not going to have just one kid like in a high school that pushes buttons. You go to, I don't care if you go to Messina High School. I don't care if you go to OFA. I don't care if you go to Morristown, right? There's kids there that push buttons.
all
But
day, every day.
these are kids that are basically imprisoned.
Yep.
Now you're really pushing their buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think a lot of those kids aren't going to push back. So you've got staff that comes in to do this job. They've been taught just like all the other teachers, special ed teachers and everybody, you get taught certain techniques to restrain kids and so on and so forth. Okay. I know because my wife learned that stuff. She had to, right?
Right.
Now you put it in a situation where you're trying to be an adult, you're taught from your boss to be an adult and authority figure, and maybe in your personality you're pretty much narcissistic yourself. Anyways, I'm saying it can happen, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody is, but think if you've got 2 or 3 of these people together, right? And you're even if you're not, you're normal like you and I. All right. So now you got a room full of unruly kids, and one kid is just refusing to do anything. If you lose your cool, things like what you see on that video can happen. Now, I'm talking mainly about, somebody being carried by their head into another room. Okay. It's not okay no matter when you do. It's not
No, it's not
okay.
okay.
It's not
And
okay no matter when you do it. There's a
right.
way to to deal with that stuff. And clearly that adult uh had lost their cool and lost their sense of what really should they be doing and totally acted out in a way that was not good.
Right. And then it becomes a power trip
Right.
to the adult
So
because
can
the
I
adult thinks if I can get away with it this time, I'm going to do the same thing to that kid again. And if I can get away with this
yeah,
kid, then I can
right.
do it to that
Maybe
kid.
I can
So
do
I
it to
can
10
see you.
kids. Yeah.
I can see you losing your cool. I don't think as a parent, any one of us have not lost our cool with our kids. And it's not right. It's not right what we did. It's not right what they did. But there's losing your cool, and then there's overstepping that. Okay. If I lose my cool when my kids were little, they get 3 really great swats on the butt.
Yeah, but that's not no, but that's what I'm saying is that's exactly what happened is they lost their cool and overstepped. It went too far. And
Right.
that's
But
bound to
then they
happen in the
repeated doing it.
situation they were in because it wasn't a good situation to start.
Right.
Okay.
But then
The whole idea was dumb.
they repeated doing it. And then it wasn't just one, it was all of them.
Well, again, now you've got to look at the context of what videos were shown. Okay. And again, I've had people in the education system helping me with it. I didn't just jump into this thinking uh, not every technique used in the videos was illegal or wrong when it came to restraint. It's used even today, some of those techniques.
But these people were not in the education system.
They were for a time. Point of fact, Ivy Ridge was recognized as a school when they had a superintendent.
Okay.
Between 2001 and 2009, the beginning years, they actually had a superintendent that could sign diplomas legally in New York State and graduate those children. That person along the way passed away, and they did not replace that person. That was one of the main reasons Ivy Ridge closed, because New York State said, we can't accredit you. Your diplomas are no good now.
So
And
you're
so they
telling
couldn't
me
call
that the
themselves a
kids from
school.
so you're telling me that the kids that were there when there was a superintendent, their diplomas were good.
Yes.
And were all of the people, see, I don't know. So I'm
Right.
glad that you're telling me this. So were all of the people that were dealing with the children educated? Like
No,
educated
absolutely
as in
not.
teachers? Yeah,
No, because here's what you have to understand. It's accredited as a school, but it's not a public school, right?
right,
So it doesn't have to follow public school guidelines. It only has to
right.
follow, you know,
Whatever
New York
guidelines they
State
up.
guidelines. Now, here's the other part. And again, I mean, there's so much to this to unpack, and eh, there was a constant presence of state police. There was a constant presence of doctors and nurses. There's all kinds of people that were involved in this. This was not just some guys that they hired off the street and said, "Come in here and we're gonna beat these kids into submission and turn them into something." Okay, so it's really we just don't know all the pieces. That's why we shouldn't really even I think that it goes the road goes both ways. Not only should I not be saying it's good, but to an extent, I can't criticize because I don't know the whole story. Right?
Well,
I can
you know
criticize
what?
because I don't think it's a good program. It wasn't, I don't think that's the way you raise kids. Even today, we have the children's homes. We have places that younger kids have to go when they can't control themselves emotionally. Okay. This was the school that rich people sent their kids to. These kids off the streets of Ogdensburg. Okay. These weren't kids that were just picked up somewhere along the way. They were kidnapped in the middle of the night because their parents paid somebody to come and take them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, I wouldn't want to do that job. It's just ridiculous. Hey, I want you to abduct these kids in the middle of the night and bring them to our school. Really?
Yeah,
That's
but
a
there were
job?
people that did. But there were
Yeah.
people that did. That's
And they
why
did it.
what I'm saying is the people involved with this, and I'm not saying all of them, they did end up interviewing one woman that was there for maybe like a week or a
Right.
month or something, and she was like, yeah, I'm done. So give that woman credit. She didn't want any part of it, so she dipped, and good for her. But you also have these people who, sure, I'll go pick up your kid in the middle of the night. Sure, you give me $5,000 and
Right.
I'll come
And
foot
those are the
over my
people,
head and
you know,
grab them out of bed and do whatever.
by
And
all
you
means,
have
hold them
people,
accountable.
what's that?
And by all means, hold them accountable.
And they should be held accountable. You
Correct.
have people who uh, I can't get out of my head, and this wasn't Ivy Ridge, it was a different facility under the WASP umbrella, as they like to say. But
Right.
there was a young kid, and maybe you didn't see this because this was in the last episode.
I didn't. I only watched the one.
Right. So there was a young kid, and they had the video, and he was sitting at a cafeteria table by himself, and you could see there was another table of young men ahead of him, and it looked as though, of course you'll never know, but it looked as though that those kids were taunting this kid, and the kid threw a piece of bread at him. A piece of bread, white bread, threw bread. 4 guys jumped him. 4 guys sat on him until he stopped breathing.
Okay, well, white bread is not good
It's
for
not
me.
that dangerous.
It's not that. No, it is dangerous. It makes my sugar go right through the roof.
Well, that's beside the point.
Okay, so yeah, that's crazy.
It's
Other
and
kids are taunting him, and instead of just getting him out of the room away from it, or stopping the other kids from taunting him, maybe they should have stopped
and you
them.
couldn't see these guys. You couldn't see these guys in the screen until he threw the bread, and then they were on him. And then when you learn more about this kid, okay, the only reason he was put in that facility is because his mother died. And when his mother died, he went into the foster system, and from going to the foster system,
Oh, that's we're in a whole nother episode now.
yeah.
We're going to get in a whole
So
nother
it's
episode.
not just, I mean, it's
Well,
good.
I'm
that
talking about
you watch-
I'm talking about Ivy Ridge specifically, though. I'm not
okay.
talking about
Well,
other
but
ones
the thing
only
is,
because
you talk about Ivy Ridge specifically, and that's fine, but you can't just talk about Ivy Ridge because there's so many other places like this owned by the same people where these horrible things were happening. So as much as the kids that went to Ivy Ridge want us to bring it to light for them, they
yeah.
also want us to bring it to light for these other people too.
Well, right, because it's a whole series on Netflix. It's not just one It's not just the Ivy Ridge
It's not
story.
just Ivy Ridge. They
It's
talk
the whole
mostly about
series.
Ivy Ridge. Right.
And
They
there's
talk mostly about Ivy Ridge because that's where they were. That's where the
right,
most of them were.
right,
But if
and
you
there's
look
places still
closely,
open today.
yes, if you look closely, and I didn't catch this until after I watched the third episode a couple times, Paris Hilton,
Yes.
who everybody loves, she was in one of
Well,
well, I don't love her, but you know what I mean.
right.
Um, she was in one of these places, and she
Mhm.
single-handedly got it shut down. So
Amazing.
she considers herself
Okay.
a survivor, which she is.
Yep.
So it's not just you can't just look at Ivy Ridge. I know because it's us and because we're Ogdensburg, we're so close. You're close to Ogdensburg. You lived there. My husband is from there. It's hitting closer to home for us because you watch this documentary and you go, oh yeah, I know that person. Oh yeah, there's Philip Steiner. Oh yeah, he took his kid to Bolt Castle on their one day out. Like that's why it's hitting us so hard. But we really need to remember that it's not just Ivy Ridge; it's all over the place.
Right. So I guess here's the point that I wanted to make, at least with this part of our broadcast, and then we'll move on to a new subject. I'll let you make a final point also, then we'll move on.
Okay.
Regardless of how, all of that, okay, there's a way for justice to be served.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not by cyberbullying.
Nope.
And it's not by making stuff up to make it seem more extreme, which is happening constantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's knowing the facts. So many times people say, we should start this group and take action and do it. And you know what they really mean? They mean you should start this group and you should take action because they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So the other side of this episode is going to be old in a couple of weeks because it's all going to be gone because nobody took any action.
Right.
And that's the real sad part about the whole issue.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not about bullying people and getting them fired from their jobs by picketing out in front of their businesses and yelling mean things that aren't even true about them. It's about taking the correct find the information, expose it, right? Then get the legal authorities to do what they want. It's not a conspiracy. So many people are, it's a conspiracy. They don't want anybody on the property. No, somebody's private property now. It's not Ivy Ridge's property anymore. Those guys don't own it. You don't have a right to go up there. It's private property. It's posted. They off it. That's why the police have to keep going up there because people don't care about the rules. They want to do whatever they want.
Right.
And you can't infringe on and the guy that owns the building now has nothing to he's 2 owners removed from Ivy Ridge. He doesn't even know who those people were.
Right.
So why are you punishing him by going on his property?
Well,
because he bought the building?
Because it's not that they want to go there to say I was there. They want to go there to say, oh my God, I saw the room that the girl was in. They want to go there so they can be a part of it.
Doesn't make it right.
It's not right. It's 1,000% not right. It is 1,000% not right. But
so don't accuse,
but
don't accuse other people of being criminals when you're doing criminal things. Well, that's all I'm saying.
Well,
all right. All right. So this part of the show, we're going to move on. Is it okay if we move on to a new subject?
Move on to whatever you want to move on to.
I have a new subject I want to hit on because I really do want your opinion. You're going to hate it because it's something we never talk about. All right. All right. That was interesting. It's very interesting. It's heartbreaking. The whole thing is heartbreaking. Here's something else.
It's disgusting. It's blah. Anyway.
All that stuff. Yep,
Yes.
it really is. All right. Again, a subject we never talk about, but I decided that today we will because I'm going to give you some information as we go, and I love it because you're going to lose your mind on this.
Is
Are you
this
ready?
Rile Up Angie Day?
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
cool.
I love it. We're going to talk about the presidential election.
Okay, I gotta go.
Oh no, come on, stick around for a minute.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I want your take on the two leading candidates at the moment.
Is it still Biden and Trump?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I think of Trump in the nicest way possible. Um, because my husband and I go round and round about this sometimes because we are of different political parties. And he is
Okay.
of the party that supports Trump, and I am not.
Okay. I mean, here's what I'm going to tell you before you, just so you know. I think I don't think we have to worry about this too much. You can go around. It's a waste of time to go round and round about these two. But go ahead.
Okay. So at one point in time when he was president, um, I was not approving of his job, and of course my husband was. And I would bring up let's just call it the misconduct of Mr. Trump and females. And my husband would say, that doesn't, Prinkles, get down. There's nothing for you. That my husband would say, that doesn't have anything to do with how he is as president. To which I said, au contraire, mon frere. Because if you remember correctly, at least this is how I remember it, when I was young, the president was someone to look up to. The president was someone to emulate. None so much more as John Kennedy, who neither of us were able to be around for, but the president was someone you could aspire to be. I would not want any young man in this day and age to aspire to be a Donald Trump.
I would want a young person to aspire to be Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
No, well, you know what?
Joe Biden was thrown out of two presidential elections for having lying about his education, lying about his background.
Agreed.
Right. So we got these two old geezers fighting it out. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think, and again, you always, the thing about presidential elections is at some point it doesn't matter who gets it because Congress and the House are going to control everything anyways. That's why it's a democracy, because it's not a dictator, that runs it. But the interesting information that I heard, and of course, being a radio news guy, I try to stay apprised. Plus, I'm just kind of interested in interesting information.
Right.
And this is all hearsay. From this point,
right.
This is strictly Breakfast Brew hearsay. All right. My understanding is that when they get to the Democratic National Convention, it has been rumored, there's the word, okay, that so Joe Biden isn't a lame duck president for the rest of his term.
Yeah.
They will not do anything till they get to the Democratic National Convention, which I believe is August. Okay.
Okay.
At that time, the Democrats will announce a candidate that they wish to run for president.
Okay. Do you have a name?
Have you heard any of this?
I think I have a name, but
because the name I heard makes me believe, and you can disagree with me, that person would win by a landslide, like a total. And there's a lot of reasons why. There's some reasons why some people won't like her, but I heard they're going to put Michelle Obama up to run for president.
Okay. If we can have an African American president, I think the next step should be a female president.
Well, I don't think race or gender matters as much as the person's integrity that's getting into the position. And frankly, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are lucky they have a half an ounce of integrity between them. Okay. I
So
mean,
do you
let's
think
come
Michelle
on.
has more?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you vote for her? Can I
Absolutely.
ask you that?
I don't I might.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Well, I can say this now because it doesn't matter. When Barack Obama was running for president for his second term,
Yeah.
I I felt at that time that it was necessary for him to try and finish what he started. So I voted
Okay.
for him I did not vote for him the first time,
Okay.
but I did vote for him the second time
Okay.
because I felt, as much as I can't stand to listen to that man talk, I do not like his speech patterns. Being a
Right.
broadcaster to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I felt that there was a lot more going for him than other people that were out there. And if anything, he needed an opportunity to finish what he started.
Right. That I'll
Because
give
I
you.
don't, if you go back to the Obama era, I don't think we, I can't. To me, the only thing that really bothered me was Obamacare when he said, "Look, we're not going to change anything. Your health care is going to be the same." And
Right.
the paperwork was a nightmare to change health
Right.
when it changed.
Right.
So to me, that was a lie. But I don't think you can get around that with government when you new stuff in place or whatever,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So this time around, I would say, uh, I guess my answer would be, why not? Why not?
Anything other than what we have?
She has the education. And
Yep.
this is the thing is you can look at other candidates, you can look at other people that could run. Okay. I just don't see anybody at the level of her as far as being able to understand the position and understand the effects of that. Right.
You
I
know,
think being first lady for 8 years helps give her a better spot.
right, right. That I'll give you. What would you say? And this is just hypothetical. I'm just asking.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say if Kamala ran?
No,
No?
no, she's a horrible politician. She's shown that she's not done good things. I don't. She, in my opinion, and this is all my opinion, she got the vice presidency because she was a token. Because
That I'll give you.
as vice president, she has not done anything to stand out.
Right.
Okay, Michelle Obama as first lady stood out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so no, I'm sorry, Kamala's not the lady to lead this country.
Okay.
You
I'll
know,
give you that.
I'm just not. That's a no. I would vote for Trump over her.
Ooh. Okay. So let's play. You're going to get me into the politics. I'm going to make you work for it.
Go ahead.
Who would be your ideal candidate? I want a name.
Well, I mean, I think the closest is Michelle Obama at this point.
Okay. All right.
Hearing that, I was on
Yeah.
board with that for a lot of reasons. One, because I think she has a broader appeal to Americans than anybody else that we could bring up with right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that uh and speaking strictly from like a radio demographic thing, I think every woman in America would vote for her, or most. I think most would, unless they're really extreme Republicans that are for Donald Trump. I just don't see it. Republicans don't have one candidate they can put out there right now that could
No.
compete against Michelle Obama. I'm sorry.
Well, right now the pickings are slim. I personally would love to see someone else other than Biden and or Trump.
And I think
Literally
she would
anyone else.
I think she would take it to another level.
I think she would do a great
I
job,
think
to be honest with
she
you.
would raise that position back up to where it belongs, because
Yep.
what we've seen in the last 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I could say this because it's online, it's a shit show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
These two presidents have not been impressive at all. This
No.
is not a good era of history. They're not going to
No.
look back on these years and go, oh, they're going to look back on these years and go, oh my God, what did America turn into for that time?
Right. So
And that's not right.
let me just say this. I remember when the first time Trump ran, and I had just had surgery and it was the election. And I went to bed. I didn't even stay up to watch it. And I went to bed thinking, there's no way in hell this country is dumb enough to elect Donald Trump. And then I woke up the next morning. And this country was dumb enough to elect Donald Trump as president.
Okay, but I think they're even dumber when they made Joe Biden president, because he had already proved in the past that he was not an honest person either.
Right,
So,
but it's like 6-1, half a dozen of the other.
Absolutely,
like,
I get it.
Was
no,
the
I
lesser
get
of
it.
two evils.
And honestly, it was a pretty split decision when you look at how slim the margin was. And I know you're arguing, oh, the election was whatever. It was a slim margin. It was a very slim margin. So there was, just don't think there was good choices there.
No, there weren't.
There wasn't good choices.
But the thing is, which is bad for the American public, is we don't have control to say, oh, we want so and so. Like right now,
no, the big money does. No, the big money does. Yeah,
but we can't go out and search for someone and say to whomever, call up the head of the Democratic committee, hey, so and so,
committee,
would be great. Because I got to tell you, when you said you're not going to believe this name or whatever, I went, oh my God, they want George Clooney. I will vote for George Clooney in a heartbeat. You don't find that funny? Oh God.
No, because he might be a good
for president.
He might be a good candidate.
Talk about women voting for president. That, pardon my French, son of a bitch would win in a landslide, because every 95% of the women would vote for him.
All right. I'll give you that. Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem, though, is that if you look at Congress and the House of Representatives and everybody in government right now, how many people would you say, oh, they would make a good president? Everybody's so extreme in there, much like what we talked about earlier with our local situation. But he's so extreme in their beliefs that they're not human anymore.
Yep.
And we need to get the human element back in there.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And I think that would help, because I don't think she would be passive about things that aren't right.
Right.
And I think she'd be very strong, even on foreign policy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things here where, she stayed solid these last couple of years. You hear scandals about Michelle Obama and doing, weird business deals or anything else.
Right.
She's just doing her thing.
Yeah.
And wherever she is, I'm sure she's making a difference. So, I'm not registered Republican or Democrat, just so anybody, I'm a registered independent. Have been, because I'm a news guy. I've been that way for years.
Right.
I thought that's what you were supposed to do when you're a news guy. Apparently nowadays it's not the case. But
no,
I can talk good about anybody that does good, and I can tell you when they screw crap up.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah,
nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
No, you know what? She would be good. And I think, honestly, we need someone who blurs the line a little bit between Democrat and Republican. We need someone who's thinking of the country and not their party. And
I think that's the point.
Yeah.
She could be strong enough to do that. Yeah. I think she could be strong enough to do that. And
I don't see anyone that can blur the line. I don't see anyone who can, see a Republican side and a Democrat side. I only see Republicans.
I'm going to tell you right now, my Republican friends are losing their minds right now because
they know
they're like, you're out of your mind. They're going to flip out on me. But you know what? I got to be honest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
I can be honest because it's okay. So
it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, because
show up and vote. That's how you make a difference.
If you don't like her, vote for one of the other votes.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen. It almost seems like it's too peculiar a thing to have happened, but I've heard that's what's going to happen.
Hey,
only time will tell. All right. Yep. Do you want to do any more on this? You want to grill me any more on this? Or are you okay with what I came up with there?
I approve. You have the Angie
Thanks.
seal of approval.
Thanks, Edge. That's awful
Wow.
nice. All right. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this one up?
No, but you know what? If you wanted to do another one soon and talk about the bypass, I'm more than happy to do it.
The what?
My gastric bypass.
Oh, well, let's just okay. You want to make an episode? Let's make an episode out of it because I'm sure that's an experience, or is it?
Oh, it's an experience.
Okay. Were you awake when they did it?
No, but I wish I would have been because the doctor's really cute.
Oh, here we go again.
Hey, we're
Cute
going to talk
doctors.
about George Clooney. Now I'm just in that.
Yeah,
range.
you're off in another world there.
Woo-hoo!
All right. Well, I guess we could leave it at that. I mean, I think we touched on what I wanted to. I
Okay.
thought it was important that you and I uh voiced about the local situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think people are just too extreme.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at how we had this conversation. You didn't throw anything at the screen. You didn't,
Nope.
And even if you disagreed with me a little bit, it's only a little bit. We're all on the same page, folks. We want everybody to do the right thing. I
Right.
just
That's really what it boils down to. Stop handing out information that people don't need. I guess you can't tell people to stop going to the property because they're not going to. None of this. We can say stop going to the property, stop
right.
handing out information to
But
people.
we don't have that kind of influence on you.
We don't have that kind of influence. I
Wish
can
we
tell
did.
my kids
I wish we
not
did,
to do that, but even they won't listen. So
I was going to say, you tell your kids not to do stuff and they go to mine do, or they do whatever.
that's
Whatever.
exactly what they do. Well, you say don't do that, and what are they going to do? That.
Right.
So
Yeah, that.
But
Okay.
I guess all we can do is encourage. Justice will come, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Knock on wood, and let it happen. Let it happen the way it's supposed to, and stay off the property and leave the people alone. They'll get theirs. They'll get theirs, and you have to have faith that they'll get theirs.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Ange, I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
I've already worked all day, went and did my workout in the gym.
I know, you're so cool.
Yeah.
What a muscle man you are.
And now I got to have, I know it. Not really. Not at this age. It takes a lot of work to build muscle at this age. You're like, oh, wait a minute.
I know.
But I do like doing it, though. It does make me feel super good. And, I see those videos of the extreme remedies that will help my diabetes. And I watched the 40-minute video and it didn't tell me anything. They said it was a free video and they didn't tell me what it was. And so I don't know what it is.
But you know what I think the best is about that is that you're going with Joe and you're spending time with him.
Well, and then, you know what? That's really the big thing right now that I have to focus more on every day. And, now with Kenneth and Ava growing up, it's not just them, but it's so important for all the kids, and Carly's excited. She's going to be in the local production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So she's extremely excited. She wants me to teach her how to be a radio DJ because she said, Dad, I'm going to take your place someday. I said, okay, well, at least if you do it from home like I do, it's a good part-time gig. But other than that, don't bother.
Unless you plan on moving to LA.
Yeah.
It's not going to do you anything.
Carly, you never know what she might do.
That's right.
But she's excited to be in the school play. Of course, myself and Sean, the Backwater Duo, is still out. Man, we are booked. And we've only been doing this. We've been doing this almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
We are booked into October.
Are you?
Every weekend.
Yeah.
Except for the weekends I told him I'm taking off because Jen wants to do family stuff.
Yeah.
Every open weekend that Jen didn't already have me block off, we're just booked all the way through. And I love doing live music. I do enjoy it. It's not for the money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because there ain't a whole heck of a lot of money in it. And, I know Mike is busy as well.
I was just about to say, so welcome to my world for the past 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
Mike sat here in his chair in mid-January, early February, and said he was booked for the summer.
Yeah.
And I said,
yeah, we're
okay. And God love my husband. I know he's like you. This is a passion. You don't do it for the money. You do it for the people. You do it to see them smile and make them
Right.
happy. Um, he's not as nice as you. And he doesn't say, is there any weekend you want me to take off? He just books.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
can't do that. And honestly, if an event comes up and interferes, because we're a duo, Sean and I, he can go do it alone without me if it really gets
Well,
down to
that's
it.
and Mike is starting to learn, and it's taken him a while, God bless him, but Mike is starting to learn. You know what? Maybe hanging out with the kids and the girls, like he likes to go do adventures with our oldest. They go and they explore this, and they have a drone now, and oh my God, they have
Oh,
all these great
cool.
adventures. Yeah, that
Cool.
they want to make. He took Laura to a Clarkson game not too long ago, and of course, Tony is his, sidekick
Yeah. His drummer guy and his
half
sidekick
the time.
anyways for everything. Yeah.
So he's learning that, it's time. He's getting older. We're getting older. It's time to worry about the kids and make sure that they're a good constant in our life. So he's doing that now. And if I say to him, look, like I said to him, look, don't take this weekend because so and so's birthday party. Okay. And he marks it off.
Right.
And I say, hey, that anniversary thing of ours is coming up. You might want to take that weekend off. Oh yeah, already took that off. Okay, good. So he's good about it. He is good about it. I shouldn't say anything, but yeah, it's a
It's
passion you
hard.
guys have that I will never quite understand. But you know what? After so many years, you just let them go.
Well, I'm not sure I understand it,
Yeah.
but I'm going to do it until, I think there's a point, at least for me, that, Jen will say, okay, it's time to stop.
Right.
And I'll stop. Or my body will tell me that. I mean, let's
Yes.
face it,
Right.
we're not spring chickens. We're in our mid 50s.
Right.
So, if you're really physically, it can be grueling. When you get up in the morning, you go to work and then you leave work and go to gigs and you're
Yes.
out until 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You get up on
Right.
Saturday. And if you don't have to work Saturday morning, you get a couple extra hours and then you're
Right.
back out on gigs and then you get up
Mhm.
Sunday and then,
Yeah.
Sunday's your only day off.
Yep.
And, so it is. It's very extreme. And just what I did last summer was enough that I said to Sean this year, I said, no weeknights. I'm not doing weeknights.
No, weeknights are too hard. Weeknights are too
It's
hard.
so very difficult to get up and work and then go play out till 1 or 2 in the morning and then get up and go to
Get up.
work. And then, it's just, you don't get that downtime to chill.
Yeah.
And, we're working that in, I think that John and I have a great thing with the Backwater Duo. We enjoy it. The music is wonderful. The people love us. And I don't mean that because it's us. I think they enjoy, the music, and that's what we're
Yeah.
doing it for. Right.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, they don't care who I am. They're enjoying the music. That's,
Right.
So yeah, there it is.
So let me ask you a question and then we can go, but I just find this interesting. Does Jen know where you are whenever you're playing? Does she know, Friday night you're here, Saturday you're here, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah?
I put it on our calendar.
Do you? Okay.
Her and
Because I
Megan
gotta
and I,
tell you,
well, let me tell you. So her and Megan and I all have our Google calendars linked.
okay.
So everything is on the Google calendar. Every gig, every doctor's appointment, everything. It's all on that calendar. And we use Life 360.
Yep.
So she knows where I am every minute, every second of every day. Period. Unless my
Okay.
phone dies. Then it says he was here last and his phone
Yeah.
died. And
Right.
then by the time I get in the car, I plug it in and I turn it on again. So even if I'm at the gig and my phone dies, by the time I get on the road, my phone is working. So,
Right.
I mean, if something happened to me between Brazier Falls and home in Morristown, you
Right.
know, she sees it on the phone.
Right.
And I
So
know she wakes up.
I'm going to tell you a real quick funny story. So I have a cousin that lives down in Florida and he was up last summer. And Tony and Laura and myself went over to see him and his, my other cousins and whatever. And he says, "Where's Mike playing tonight?" And I went, "I don't know." And he says, "You don't know where your husband's playing and what bar?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Doesn't that bother you?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, when's he going to be home?" And I said, I don't know." And he goes, "You're telling me you don't know where your husband is. You don't know when he's coming home. How do you find that out?" And I said, "I don't know. Look at his Facebook page. I don't care." I said, "Look, here's the thing. He's going to come home. I know he's going to come home. I'm not worried about it." I
Right.
said, "Here's how I figure it out. If I walk into the bedroom and his breathing machine's gone because he wears the CPAP like I do, then he's staying someplace overnight. If I come in and it's there, he's coming home." I said, "Eventually he'll come home. I don't worry about it. I don't
Right.
worry about where my husband is. I don't
Well, and
worry
I
about
think,
what he's doing or who he's with. I don't, not that I don't
and
care.
I
I just
no,
don't
but
worry about
and I don't think Jen worries about it. I like if you asked her the exact place, she'd be like, I don't know. I think he's in Carthage tonight, or he's in,
it." Right. Yeah.
wherever. She doesn't know the names of the bars. It doesn't,
Right.
she knows at some point the car is going to pull in the driveway
Yeah.
and I'm going to sneak in. And
Yep.
if she's awake, she'll roll over and give me my insulin shot and then we'll go to bed. We'll go to sleep again. You know?
So it's funny because when Mike walks in, he hides his money and he thinks I'm not awake. So he
Oh,
hides it. And I go, "I can see that." And he jumps. And I go, "I know where your money is." And he's like, "Well, I'm not hiding it from you." And I give him one of these. He's like, "Okay, I'm hiding it from you."
yeah. No, see, I
Don't
don't,
bother, dude.
I bring it in.
Your money's
We have,
my money. My money's my money.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. No, I have a thing on the dresser that I put it in when I come in, and all the cash goes in that. Whatever her and I both get for cash, we just put it in there
Yeah.
because she'll say, "I gotta go to the store. Do I use cash or do I use the bank account or whatever?" And so it's there. But I don't listen. I have everything that I want. Or I mean, look at all my stuff on the wall
All
behind me
right.
here. Right?
Cool.
I got a studio filled with cool stuff. I've got some cars in the driveway that she's not exactly thrilled about, but they're there. I have
That's
I
okay. Mike's
purchased
got about 4 guitars in the living room that I'm not thrilled with, but that's okay.
well, I purchased a couple of toolboxes in the last year or so, one for home and one for work. And
She's not
and
thrilled with that.
when I brought the one for home, it stayed in the trailer for about 3 days before I got the nerve to tell her I brought it home. Let's put it that way.
That's great. Oh, that's
You know,
perfect.
See,
That's awesome.
when I get music stuff, it comes right to the door.
Yeah.
But the tools and my toolbox, well, that's a whole nother. And if you think music stuff's expensive, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'll tell you
Oh,
what.
I don't know. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guitars right now. A big, huge amp. Uh, I don't even know what has. Oh, a fog machine. Excuse me. I'm looking at a fog machine.
Fog machines are cheap.
Okay.
Let me see now. Wait, I'm sitting here. I got one,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I've only got 7 guitars in the studio here. My other
Lightweight.
one's my other one's upstairs. Uh, but I get
Lightweight.
it. I get it, right? Bring this bring this toolbox over
Lightweight.
the trailer. And I'm like, I gotta get the toolbox out of the trailer and into my shed. Right. So I'm like, I know, I'll just someday when she's gone, I'll bring the trailer over to the shed and I'll put it in there. Right. She'll never know she doesn't go in the shed.
Someday when she's gone. Hey,
You know,
Jen, I think you need to go to the store right now.
hey, she goes to Watertown like every week, right? So I'm like, oh, she's gone to Watertown. I'll move it all, put it in. I thought, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I got to tell her, because that's just, it would
Okay.
be
And
wrong
you know
for
what
me
I
not to
want you
tell
to
her.
do now?
But
Think of something that Jen has a ton of besides kids.
clothing,
As bad as your
I
obsession?
the daycare stuff is flowing out of our downstairs here.
Okay,
If I
that's the
walk out, no, but you understand, she hoards the stuff. We have a little room, a little storage room down here in the lower level, and the idea was you have this nice little storage room with shelves in the back. You can't get to the shelves in the back because everything's piled right up to the ceiling, all the way to the front of the door. You know, we all have our
well,
things. It's okay.
okay, but I don't. See, that's my thing is that I don't have a thing.
I
I don't
certainly
have a
think
thing.
mine are. Listen. If you add them up, of course, I think my stuff is more useful than her stuff, but she thinks her. It doesn't matter. It
No, it
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
We do
I just think
okay.
it's funny that there's a need to buy more stuff just to have, even if you don't use it, but at least it's there.
I
And
certainly use it.
I'm not necessarily
I
talking
gotta,
about you, but okay.
I gotta have a place to put my tools.
Right,
Keep
I'm
them
talking
safe.
guitar. How many guitars can you use at a time? Yep,
Well,
that's what I thought.
no, because see, the kids want me to help teach them too. So if we sit around and there's 4 or 5 of us, you got to have 4 or 5 guitars so everybody can learn together at once. And
That's the
different
biggest
guitars,
bullshit I've ever heard in my
listen,
life.
different guitars have different sounds. So
Oh my.
sometimes you're doing certain songs, you want a different sound.
Okay, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been around the block for
Someday,
30 years with all this stuff. I understand what you're
someday
saying.
when
I
I'm
just
gone,
don't buy it.
someday when I'm gone, they're going to back a trailer up to the house and they're going to unload all my shit in the trailer and take it to the dump.
Yes. This is my point. This is my point. They're going to take all those precious guitars that you had to have, all the tools that you hid from your wife, and then she finds out she wants to beat the crap out of you. They're going to take it all. They're going to put it in the back of a truck. They're going to take it to the dump, and there it's going to be. And you're going to be none the wiser because you're tets up.
No, Melody will be able to use my tools.
Okay. Okay. That's good.
And she's into
That's
it. She'll
great.
want to. She'll seriously.
Okay.
She's into the
But how
car
many
thing and the bit.
toolboxes is she going to need? One or two?
Well, one is a toolbox, and one is a tool cart that's a little bit more mobile.
Oh my God. We could be here all day.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for that. We got to get going. Our time is running out.
It's gonna run out, yes.
So, hey, thanks for doing this. We needed to do this. So next episode coming up in a short while, we're gonna talk about Ange's intestines. This is gonna be great. You know, uh,
Hey, listen, I'll get up close and personal if you really want me to.
well, okay. And but like I said, today was important, but the bottom line is this: please be kind to each other. Don't.
Yes.
The meanness doesn't work.
No.
The meanness doesn't work. That's all.
Useless. So
I mean, look at us.
yes.
We get along fine. We're not mean. Well,
For the most,
yeah, right.
sometimes it slips in, but
All right,
Okay.
we're out of here.
Thanks, Matt.
I will see you. Bye.